Hello, my beautiful friends. I am Shannon. This is Lifestyle Manifesting, and I am the only manifestation coach you need because you get results with me and my processes, and I have created a blueprint for you to manifest anything with my self-concept course. You can be the designer, the director, the creator of your life. Today, I want to read a little bit of Neville Goddard, At Your Command. This is chapter 6, and I'm not reading everything. I'm just pulling out a few points from Neville Goddard, At Your Command, chapter 6. The world, which is described from observation, is a manifestation of mental activity of the observer. When man discovers that his world is his own mental activity made visible, that no man can come unto him except he draws him, and that there is no one to change but himself, his own imaginative self. His first impulse is to reshape the world in the image of his ideal. But his ideal is not so easily incarnated. In that moment, when he ceases to conform to external discipline, he must impose upon himself a far more rigorous discipline, the self-discipline upon which the realization of his ideal depends. Okay, so let me just go through that paragraph through that paragraph a little bit. Okay. When man discovers that his world is his own mental activity made visible, your whole world is your mental activity made visible. What are you thinking, and what do you feel about yourself, and what do you assume about yourself? There is no one to change but you. There's no one to change but yourself. In order to change the external world, or if we want to perceive it as shifting into a parallel reality, in order to do that, you need to have a discipline. You need to have a disciplined mind, have self-discipline, and choose your thoughts. Let me skip down to another paragraph. To realize his ideal, man must first change the pattern which his imagination has followed. Let me reread that. To realize your ideal, to manifest your desire, man must first change the pattern which his imagination follows. You got to change the pattern of the habitual thoughts that you're thinking. You have to change those thoughts of insecurity to a version of you who is secure. Okay, if you want to be a secure person, who knows you're loved and chosen, then you have to have new habitual thoughts about being chosen and being number one and being loved. Okay, habitual thought is indicative of character. Habitual thought is indicative of character. Okay, so based on your character of who you already are, you're having habitual thoughts based on your current character, based on your own self-concept, how you identify yourself. You're already having habitual thoughts. You need to change your habitual thoughts. Let me move on what Neville said. The way to change the outer world is to make the inner speech and action match the outer speech and action of the fulfilled desire. Okay, the way to change your outer world is to make the inner speech and action match the outer speech and action of your fulfilled desire. That's why you're affirming. You're affirming that you have your desire. You're affirming the version of you with your desire, because your internal self-talk has to match the reality that you want to experience and that you want to manifest. Our ideals are waiting to be incarnated. Your desire is literally waiting for you. It has been given to you. But unless we ourselves match our inner speech and action to the speech and action of fulfilled desire, they are incapable of birth. You have to match your inner speech. You have to match your inner speech with the fulfilled desire. I have my desire. That means you're not saying, where is it? What happened? What's going on? They're ghosting me. They didn't tell me what I wanted to hear. It's all going, opposite. Your inner speech is creating the outer reality. So your inner speech must match that end goal. This is why in my the earlier paragraph that I read about having a disciplined mind, you have to have a disciplined mind. You discipline yourself to have new habitual thoughts. Okay, let me move on. Inner speech and action are the channels of God's action. Because your imagination is spiritual sensation. Your imagination is the creator, or co-creating with infinite intelligence. Your imagination, you're co-creating. He cannot respond, let me move on. He cannot respond to our prayer unless these paths are offered. The outer behavior of man is mechanical. It is subject to the compulsion applied to it by the behavior of the inner self. And old habits of the inner self hang on till replaced by the new one. It is a peculiar property of the second or inner man that he gives to the outer self, something similar to his own reality of being. Any change in the behavior of the inner self will result in corresponding outer changes. The old habits of the inner self hang on until they're replaced by new ones. I want to underline this. This is chapter 6 of At Your Command. Neville Goddard, At Your Command, chapter 6. Write this down. Old habits of the inner self hang on until replaced by the new ones. The old habits, the old thoughts, the old version of you, it's hanging on until you replace it. You have to keep replacing your, create new habitual thoughts about you. Already have your desire. Consistently have the thoughts of the version of you who has your desire. And you're the person who knows they have their desire. I know it's mine, and I know I'm the creator, and I know that everything's pushed out of me. Your thoughts and assumptions are manifesting. You've already manifested your current reality with your thoughts and assumptions. And when you want to change something, you have to persist. You persist in inner conversations of already having that desire. You persist. You have to create, and you have to replace. You create, or you align with the new thoughts, and you're replacing the old thoughts. You're replacing the old version of you. All right, that is a powerful knowing. If you want to read that chapter on your own, that would be something to really great to meditate on. Okay, so hello everyone. You are the operant power. Your thoughts are creating. You can manifest anything you want. You're a specific person. There is a reality where you and your specific person are already in the most beautiful, loving relationship. So if you want to manifest a beautiful, loving relationship, then have the thoughts of that version of you who's already there, who's already in that relationship. What thoughts are you having? This is why I put my self-concept course together, and this is why I have success with it, because it's my success. I've manifested everything I wanted to manifest. Sure, I have lists and I have new desires, and I don't have any worries and doubts that those will manifest. So when you do the work and you replace the old thoughts and you do the work on your own, you will create that reality. Do the work on your own. Okay, Mel, I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. Been manifesting him for a year, bumped into him 3 times in the past month. Is this movement? Yes, it's not a coincidence. He is a reflection in your reality. You have to remember that you're the operant power. So whatever you decide is whatever assumptions you're making, that's what's reflected in your world. That's what you're experiencing in your world. So you want to define it as, yes, this is movement. This is working. It's done. Keep living in the end, knowing it's done. It is done. Hi, Ellie. Can my SP like my photo on social media when he didn't used to? Yes, be classed as some movement. It is absolutely movement. He liked your photo because he thinks you're a goddess. He liked your photo because he's madly in love with you. Okay, so you are giving already, you already are defining your reality. And however you define your reality is what happens. So you have to practice giving it good meaning. You give it good meaning no matter what, because when you give it good meaning, it will create that circumstance with good meaning. Okay, so that is, yes, that is movement. It is done. Decide it's movement, and now go to the end. Go to the end of it's already, that it's already done, that you're already together. How can we ignore the 3D when it is in our face? Yeah, the 3D is in our face. Well, you could become more disciplined. You can be more, how do you ignore this 3D? By being more secure, by being more centered, by being more sure, by feeling more powerful. So ignore the 3D. It's in your face. You're going to tell yourself that's okay. It's part of the old reality, because every time you react to what's in your face, well, you're reacting 100% no matter what. How are you reacting, right? We're having assumptions and thoughts based on what we see. So if what you see, you're going, no matter what, have some sort of reaction, whether it's a reaction of, yes, it's working out and it's a positive reaction, or a reaction that it doesn't feel good. But whatever your reaction is, that is what leads into your future or the next moment experience. There's only the present moment that exists, right? So when it's in our face, you could perceive it differently. You could perceive it differently, because if it's in your face and you're like, well, why is this still happening? And it's still happening. And I thought I was good on my self-concept, and I had it down, and I felt great for 3 whole weeks, and then this happened. But you're still reacting as if you don't have it. This is why it takes a disciplined mind. It takes to be like unshakable, completely like unfazed, unbothered. Be the version of you who is unfazed, unbothered, because you will have a different experience when it's in your face. Remember I said, it's in your face, whatever your assumptions are creates the next moment. And it might not happen in this next moment right here, right now, but it's creating your future experience. So when it's right in your face, that's when you have to breathe. Okay, someone might do tapping, you might use a breathing exercise. For me, I love a breathing exercise, because whether you're texting or they're standing next to you, you could say, excuse yourself to the bathroom, and you just breathe and you remind yourself, that's the old reality. Okay, that's the old. Now you're already stepping into your power when you react by saying, your reaction being, that's the old reality. Now, what do you want to create for the new reality? You could assume that's in your face and it's just being purged and it's withering away. It's dissolving away. That assumption is going to bring you to the reality that you want to experience. Just define it in a way that everything's working out perfectly. How are you going to ignore the 3D? By knowing you're the operant power. By knowing that in the present moment, this is in your face, that you're unbothered, okay? Or you're centered, or you're secure, or all of these, not or, and all of these. You're secure, you're unbothered, you're bigger than the circumstance. It's not bigger than you. You're going to define it as everything's working in your favor. Doesn't matter what the experience is. It's all working in your favor. How often should we affirm for self-concept? You should be affirming consistently until it becomes a dominant, regular belief. What is self-concept? Self-concept means a version of you with your desire. So let's say your desire is a relationship. Then what should you be saying? What would be a solid self-concept in a relationship? That would be you saying, I'm the operant power. I'm the creator of my reality. Everything's reflecting me. I am strong and stable and secure. This is just an idea of what it would be, right? It's not the end all be all only way to do it, right? But I'm helping create a version of you that's secure in yourself and sure and powerful and strong. So that's why I'm adding in those ideas. You're strong, you're powerful, you got everything you want, you're loved, you're amazing, you're gorgeous, you're already perfect, you see the beauty in yourself, you see the beauty in everything. So expand your idea of what self-concept is. Mine is always consistently growing and expanding. It's not that you have to stand still and look in the mirror and say, I am this and I am that. It's what are your thoughts? You're always having thoughts. You're always having inner conversations with yourself. You're always talking to yourself, whether it's just like you're walking to your kitchen and you're thinking about what you're going to make. You're thinking to yourself. And sometimes you're thinking to yourself about what's happening in the present moment. And sometimes you're thinking to yourself about, oh my God, yesterday at work, and I can't believe my boss did that. And then your mind wanders and you just let it go aimlessly wandering and have any thoughts. All of those thoughts are creating. So that's why a disciplined mind is powerful. Let that be part of your self-concept. You have a disciplined mind. It's not that you have to just affirm it, but like, who are you and who are you being? And are you aware of your thoughts and your inner conversations about yourself? Are you walking around going, oh, I was so stupid. Why did I do that? That's when you have to catch what you're saying to yourself. Be aware of your own thoughts about yourself. So when you catch that and go, oh, no, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I wasn't being stupid, or even if I was, so what? Like, so you could kind of diffuse the whole idea that something is really wrong, because there is nothing wrong. It's just our perception that there's something wrong. It's a daily thing. It's a daily thing. And it's not exhausting, because you will change your beliefs. And at some point you won't be affirming most of the things you are affirming right now. And that could happen by tomorrow. Okay, because when you just know something, you're not affirming it. Like you just know where you live, you're not affirming, I live here, I live here, I live in this house, I live in this beautiful house. You're not affirming that. You just know it, right? You just know it. So your affirmations are just creating a new belief, and you're affirming because you want to create that new belief. I've heard a manifesting coach saying that people have free will. Surely we can't manifest if this is true. It triggered me. Don't they? There's different ways. I don't know what this person said, but first of all, there's different ways to interpret your reality. And some people would think that's absurd to think that no one, that people don't have free will in your world. 10 years ago, I would have thought that was absurd, right? I would have been like, what are you talking about? Okay. You really have to experience this to see it. So the people that are experiencing it, I have experienced it. So I know this to be true, that no one has free will in your reality, that you are the only thinker in your reality. And listen or read Neville Goddard and read Joseph Murphy. And they talk about you are the only thinker in your reality. Well, I already knew that before I found them, because I could see that was happening in my world. And then I read that and I said, oh yeah, this is what's going on. Okay, they matched what I was saying. Someone could have been speaking about free will. We each individually have free will to choose. Okay, you have free will to choose means everything's existing in your reality. You have free will to have negative thoughts, and you have free will to have positive thoughts. And your world is impersonal. Okay, your inner world, which is your subconscious mind or infinite intelligence, is out picturing or representing and replicating what's within you. So if you have anger and hatred within you, you had the free will to choose that, and your world reflects that. So those are two different ways of talking about free will, okay? Because we all have free will. Free will meaning you have the free will to choose negative, positive, good things happening, bad things happening. Okay, you have the free will to choose your own destiny, okay? Now, let me go back to, does anyone in your reality have free will? No, only you do. Okay, so you are in your own bubble, your quantum bubble of reality. You are literally, like, think of it as a bubble. You're in your own bubble of reality. And you're the only one with free will. Just test it out for yourself. Because in the testing, you will prove it to yourself. For example, there was someone I knew that I thought was a narcissist, right? I just started thinking, I remember this was in the very beginning, and I was like, well, that person's a narcissist. Like in my own head, I was angry, not angry, but like, I was like, they're that. What does that have to do with me? And then I just had this thought like, well, wait, if I'm creating everything, I'm creating that they're a narcissist? And the little voice inside my head said yes. I was like, wait a minute. So the only way for me to prove the truth of that, it was to test it, and I tested it. So how I tested it was I started affirming and saying that that person is nice and kind. I started changing the conception in my own imagination. I never said anything to anyone. I was just testing it to see if this was true. I already saw it was true, but I doubted it, right? You kind of doubt it because you're like, what is going on? Well, I just kept changing the conception that I held of that person. So really what I'm doing is I'm shifting into a parallel reality because there are infinite versions of that person. So I'm shifting into a parallel reality where there is a reality where that person's a narcissist, but there's also a reality where that person is loving and kind and generous and amazing and loving and giving. So I tested it. And it worked. And that person reflected back to me the change. Okay, it wasn't a specific person like with a loving relationship. It was someone I knew in my life. So in some way, well, you can change anything because every person is infinite versions of themselves. There are infinite versions of that person. It felt very easy for me to do that because I didn't have that much attachment to that person. I just decided to test it. I was like, well, I want to see if this is true because I was already getting the answers. They were already given to me in my mind. When I asked the question, I just had the answer. And the answer was yes. Like the question that I had was, am I creating them to be that way? That sounds outrageous. But the answer in my head was like, yes. And the only way that I could know that's true is by testing it. And I did that. And it worked. That's what you could do. You test it. You test it. If your mom is annoying about something, test it with your mom. Instead of thinking she's annoying, start thinking she's the most brilliant, amazing person and she's inspiring and she's so beautiful. If you change your conception of someone and you persist, that person, it's not that they're changing, you're actually just shifting into a reality where they are that person. It's a reality that already exists and you're shifting into that reality. Okay, so test it with a best friend, test it with your dog, test it with an animal, test it with a person, it doesn't matter. You could test it with your car. You could affirm something about your car. I tested it with everything and anything. Inanimate objects. I tested this idea or this concept. I tested it with everything. Everyone is yourself pushed out. And I've talked about this before, but one of the first things I started affirming was I always get green lights because I thought, how is that possible? Because it is possible and you can change it, and I have changed it because I created a new assumption about it. I created a new assumption that I just always get the green light. Okay, so test it with something. I tested it with my car when my engine light was on. I just tested it with everything. You guys just test it. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. You obviously are here. You believe it on some level, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Well, usually it's because of the desire. That's why you're here. You're here because you have a desire and you want that desire. And now actually the desire has been given to you, so you will rise in consciousness to understand who you truly are. And you truly are the creator, the God of your reality. You're all that is. You're one with everything. You're all of it. Yeah, what was the book that I was reading? If you came in late earlier, I was reading At Your Command. So I have the complete reader, which has a lot of Neville Goddard. Read Neville Goddard, and you're going to change your life. How do I feel like he's not ignoring me? Okay, Jenny from the block. Well, it's not that you need to imagine that he's not ignoring you. What you could do, this is why you focus on self-concept. This is why I created a self-concept course, so you focus on you. You don't want to really necessarily focus on you focus on a version of him who is loving you and adoring you. So you can start by creating a new self-concept. How could you feel like you're not ignored? Well, you just decide, you would say to yourself, and I'm going to say this with I am affirmations, say to yourself, I am loved, and I am always heard, and I am seen, and I am amazing, and I am chosen, and I am just beautiful. When you give the attention to yourself, he's going to reflect what you're doing within. If you're chasing him because you don't have him, he's going to reflect what you feel within. If you're chasing him because you don't have him, it means within you feel like you don't have him, right? It's not that you feel like you don't have him, but it might be a feeling of, I feel empty, or I feel alone. If you're feeling alone, then your reality will reflect that you feel alone. And that could reflect in many different ways. It could reflect in a way where it feels like you're chasing and they're ignoring you. And guess what? That's just going to keep solidifying or confirming that you feel alone. So when you feel alone, it's reflected in your world. That's why you focus on how you feel. Because if you start to feel, like instead of feeling alone or like rejected, if you're feeling rejected, he must keep ignoring you. But if you decide that you're chosen, so you have to change that feeling within you, feeling love for yourself. If you feel love for yourself, then he will reflect the love that you feel for yourself. That means he's going to be coming in your life. He's going to be showing up with flowers. He's going to tell you how beautiful you look. Because you feel love for yourself, he is going to reflect that. Right? So that's why you have to do the inner work of see the idea of your changing your identity and your self-concept to a version of you who feels loved. That's how he'll stop ignoring you. That's how let's not talk about stop ignoring you. You want to have the version of him that is like prioritizing you and loving you and adoring you, treasures you, completely values you, sees your value, shows you that you are so valuable. He's showing you you're so important. Okay, you can't need him to want to do that. You have to do that for yourself. And you do that for yourself by saying, it's not just saying, it's about changing how you see yourself, how you feel about yourself, your perspective, and how you view yourself. So that's how you change everything. And you can change it fast. And you can have movement tonight. And you can have movement literally this split second. Do you understand? People shift into a new alter ego like that. And they're like, hey, I'm Madonna or I'm Marilyn Monroe and the men love me. What if you just decided, I'm going to walk through today like Marilyn Monroe and see what what happens? If you just got into the mind and feeling and body, you don't have to wear anything revealing or anything. You don't have to even fix your hair. But if you got into the mindset of like, I am Marilyn Monroe, I feel beautiful, I feel sexy, I feel desired. If you got into that mindset and you're like, let me test this out and walk down the street, you'll start to see a reaction. Now, let's say you didn't see a reaction. Then you could... It means you're not going to get thrown off because you didn't have a reaction. You're going to stay loyal to the character. You have to stay in character. It's like you're getting into the character of the version of you who already has this desire. You can't get out of character. You're in character. So do you understand? You can test this in many different ways. Just let your mind give you ways to test it, to keep proving, because every time you test it, you prove it to yourself and you build your confidence and you see that it's true. Okay? So you're chosen. Then start thinking of the version of you who's loved, chosen, adored, feels heard, you feel seen, you are seen. So these are things you do to yourself, like you would see yourself, listen to yourself, listen to your body. If you're running ragged and you're exhausted, are you listening to yourself? Are you listening to your body? Your body is probably, we don't want to create things, but your body could be telling you something like, you know what, you need to rest. So give yourself the things you need that you want to feel. Allow yourself, treat yourself the way you want to be treated. How fast can revision work? in the, what's SO? What, like with a significant other? How fast can revision work? It can work instantly. You guys, I have done revision on the spot. I have done revision where it wasn't working. I mean, it was reflecting back, it wasn't working. And then I just stayed loyal in my mind, and literally on the spot, it manifested. Okay, it reflected. The person reflected what I was thinking because I didn't give up in my mind. That's why I was reading Neville Goddard At Your Command, chapter 6, about imagination. And it does take a disciplined mind, because you have to be disciplined in your mind when someone's telling you something that the opposite. Are you going to listen to that, or are you going to be like unshakable and have a disciplined mind? And in your mind, you could just, like, they could be telling you that they think you have the worst breath or whatever, you'd look bad or whatever. But if you are unshakable and in your mind, you just say, no, they think my breath is the best and it's beautiful, it smells like flowers. 2 seconds later, they could just turn around and go, haha, I was joking. You are lovely and you always smell like roses. Okay, so how fast can revision work? Instantly. It can work instantly. We're already manifesting instantly. So be a version of you who uses revision and it manifests instantly. Be a version, you can be, if you want to be, then do this, right? I'm a version, like I am someone, or you could say like, when I use revision, it happens instantly. When I use revision, it happens instantly. When I picture myself with my desire, it happens instantly. You're creating your reality with what you think and believe. So affirm that over and over and over until it reflects back in your world. You will change your world. You will change your life. You guys are powerful. If you need additional help, or if you want to be part of a community and you want to help level yourself up, join my VIP group. That group is a mastermind. It's a monthly subscription. I go live in that group with Q&A. It's really about the perspective that you hold of your life and what life is. So if you want to change and level up, join my VIP group. You can join free for a week. I have hundreds of unpublished videos in my VIP group, so it's a great place for support. And there's also many features, like you could chat with me, chat with other members. There is a feed. It's an app that you download, and it's a powerful thing that will change your life. So if you want the support, because we do need support when we are in this game of manifesting and realizing that we're creating our reality, you need the support to remind you who you are, that you're the operant power in your reality. All right. I also do one-on-one coaching. So if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, you can schedule that and have a Zoom call with me. I love you all. Have an amazing day. Bye.